이 위대한 구원. 크로스포인트 주니어 처치에서 전해드리는 이 시간, 담당의 Darin Pantley 형제입니다.
Hi, this is Darin Pantley from Crosspoint Bible Church. I was listening to some music recently, and the lyrics mentioned the 7 billion people who live on our planet. It stood out to me because the number is not correct. We reached 7 billion people back in 2011. Today, 13 years later, there are over 8 billion of us, 8.1 billion and counting. Naturally, we all speak different languages. English is the most spoken language, globally, by nearly 20% of all people. Slate magazine collected some information about the most commonly spoken language in each U.S. state, other than English or Spanish. If you've lived in the Chicago area for a while, you probably won't be surprised to hear that Polish is the most spoken language after English and Spanish in Illinois. In Oregon, it's Russian. In California and Nevada, it's Tagalog. Many states speak German or French. Michigan's most spoken language, after English and Spanish, is Arabic. The indigenous Yupik language is spoken in Alaska, and Korean is the number one language, after English and Spanish, in Georgia and Virginia. Some languages are similar to English, like Spanish or French, but there are also other languages, like Korean, that don't have a lot in common with English. For starters, the alphabet is different, and it's a subject-object-verb language instead of a subject-verb-object language like English. If a native English speaker and a native Korean speaker try to communicate, they're going to notice some big differences. If we venture out of spoken languages into the world of computer programming languages, a lot of these same ideas carry over. Many programming languages are similar to each other. For example, the C programming language and the Python programming language share many basic concepts. If you know one of them, you can probably learn the other without too much effort. But there's an interesting thing that happens when an expert C programmer learns how to write Python code. We say their code doesn't look very Pythonic. In other words, we know what they're trying to say, but there's a better way to say it. They're doing things that aren't necessary, or possibly skipping steps that are necessary. Once the expert C programmer stops thinking about doing things the C way and starts to learn how to do things the Python way, then their code will become more Pythonic. It will become more correct. When we take what we know from the past and try to mix it with something new, it can create problems. That's why you shouldn't write Python code that looks like C code. They're different languages. They work differently. If I speak Korean the same way I speak English, it's going to be wrong because they're different languages. They work differently. But people do this frequently, mixing things together that should not be mixed. They do it with languages. They even do it with personal beliefs. The Bible mentions this problem in Colossians 2:8. See to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the elemental spiritual forces of this world, rather than on Christ. All 8.1 billion of us want the world to make sense. That's why people visit shamans and fortune tellers, or spend time at ancient temples in the mountains. That's why people pray to dead relatives, seeking guidance but never seeking Jesus. We need to let go of it all. We can't depend on human traditions anymore. We found someone who is more powerful than any of those spiritual forces. We must not be held captive by deceptive philosophy. But it's your life. You get to choose. Are you going to mix in your old beliefs, or will you start fresh and rely only on Jesus.
지금까지 크로스포인트 주니어 처치에서 전해드렸습니다. 언어와 문화의 장벽을 없애고 실시간 동시 통역이 제공되는 크로스포인트 주니어 처치의 주일 예배 시간은 오전 11시이며 교회에 대한 안내는 847-212-6775로 문의해 주시길 바랍니다.